Frozen pizza is the #1 selling frozen food in America, $6 billion per year. DiGiorno alone does $1.2 billion. And the ingredient list on the back of that box is longer than most people's grocery lists. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. That slogan has been running since 1995. 30 years of positioning a processed frozen product as equivalent to fresh restaurant pizza. Let's look at what makes them equivalent and what doesn't. Official ingredients of a DiGiorno 4-cheese frozen pizza: enriched flour, water, mozzarella cheese, tomato paste, palm oil, sugar, salt, yeast, modified food starch, and 23 more ingredients, including 5 separate leavening agents. 5 separate leavening agents in a frozen pizza crust: sodium aluminum phosphate, sodium bicarbonate, monocalcium phosphate, calcium sulfate, and dicalcium phosphate, each one serving a specific function in industrial dough chemistry. Sodium aluminum phosphate is the most controversial. It's an aluminum-based leavening agent. Dietary aluminum exposure from food additives has been studied in relation to neurological effects. Evidence is mixed, presence is real. EFSA reviewed aluminum from food additives in 2008 and concluded that weekly dietary aluminum intake for some European consumers exceeded safe levels. Frozen pizza was one of the identified sources. The European Food Safety Authority recommended reducing aluminum additives in processed foods. The US FDA has not issued equivalent guidance. DiGiorno uses sodium aluminum phosphate in its US formulation. Modified food starch in the crust, processed carbohydrate that improves texture and helps the crust hold up through freeze-thaw cycles. Zero nutritional benefit, present entirely for industrial stability. The cheese on frozen pizza? Mozzarella cheese, but also mozzarella cheese with natamycin. Natamycin is an antifungal antibiotic sprayed on cheese surfaces to prevent mold during storage. It's a pharmaceutical compound on your pizza cheese. Natamycin is approved as a food additive in the US and EU. Studies show it doesn't absorb into the body in meaningful amounts. But it's an antibiotic used as a food preservative on a product marketed as simple cheese. The tomato sauce: tomato paste, sugar, salt, spices, and natural flavor. The sugar in the sauce is added to balance acidity and extend shelf life. A DiGiorno pizza has 8 grams of sugar from the sauce and crust combined. Palm oil appears in both the crust and the cheese blend in many DiGiorno varieties. Same palm oil from the same supply chains as Nutella, Oreo, and Kind Bar. The deforestation connection follows palm oil everywhere it appears. Sodium content of one DiGiorno 4-cheese pizza: 1480 milligrams per 1/3 of the pizza. Most people eat half the pizza. That's 2220 milligrams sodium from half a pizza. The daily limit is 2300 milligrams. Half a frozen pizza nearly maxes your daily sodium. The serving size on a DiGiorno pizza is 1/3 of the pizza. When did you last eat 1/3 of a pizza? The serving size is calibrated to make the sodium and calorie numbers appear manageable. The whole pizza has 4,440 milligrams sodium. A whole DiGiorno 4-cheese pizza? 1,400 calories, 56 grams fat, 177 grams carbs, 4,440 milligrams sodium. Eating the whole pizza, which is common, delivers nearly double the daily calorie need for many adults in a single meal. The crust of frozen pizza undergoes freeze-thaw stress during distribution and storage. To maintain texture through this process, the dough requires chemical stabilizers that artisan pizza dough does not contain. Real pizza dough: flour, water, yeast, salt, olive oil, 5 ingredients, 1 hour of fermentation. The fermentation develops flavor, reduces gluten reactivity, and improves digestibility. Industrial frozen pizza skips this entirely. The tomato paste in DiGiorno is concentrated industrial tomato, processed at high heat. Same loss of vitamin C and some antioxidants as ketchup processing. The lycopene survives, the fresh flavor does not. Dextrose on the DiGiorno ingredient list: same sugar used in McDonald's fries and McNuggets. It creates browning during cooking and improves crust color. Present for aesthetics, not nutrition. The cheese blend in frozen pizza often contains cellulose, which is wood pulp, as an anti-caking agent. Shredded cheese in general uses cellulose. It prevents clumping during freezing. It is literally processed wood fiber on your pizza. FDA regulations allow cellulose in shredded cheese products. The amount is small, but cellulose is indigestible fiber from wood pulp listed as cheese on a product. The label says cheese. The reality is more complicated. BHT appears in DiGiorno packaging material. Same packaging preservative from Frosted Flakes. Migrates in small amounts into the product during frozen storage. Present at low levels. Cumulative exposure across products is the variable. Frozen pizza is one of the top 10 sodium sources in the American diet, according to CDC data. Not because people eat it every day, because when they eat it, the sodium load per serving is extremely high. The rise of frozen pizza correlates with the rise of two-income households in the 1970s and 80s. Convenience became economically necessary. The food industry filled the gap. Convenience products were designed for the market condition, not for nutrition. DiGiorno was launched in 1995 by Kraft Foods specifically to compete with pizza delivery. The rising crust technology using CO2 gas created a thicker crust that cooked to a delivery-like texture. The technology is impressive. The ingredient list followed. The rising crust chemistry. The dough contains CO2 precursors that release gas when heated, causing the crust to expand. This requires multiple leavening agents that interact at different temperatures. Industrial chemistry serving one purpose: texture. Stouffer's, Red Baron, Tombstone, DiGiorno, all owned by Nestle or its spun-off company Froneri. The frozen pizza category is highly consolidated. The competitive appearance of different brands obscures shared ingredient sourcing and similar formulations. Nestle's frozen food division had $10 billion in annual revenue before spinning off Froneri. The scale of production enables ingredient sourcing at costs that make artisan alternatives structurally difficult to compete with on price. Did you know that Americans eat approximately 3 billion frozen pizzas per year? That's 9 pizzas per person annually. Every man, woman, and child in America eating 9 frozen pizzas per year on average. Did you know that frozen pizza has a lower carbon footprint per serving than fresh restaurant pizza when delivery's included? The delivery vehicle's emissions for single restaurant-to-home trips often exceed the manufacturing efficiency of frozen production. Did you know that the DiGiorno rising crust technology was invented by a food scientist named George Nafziger? He developed the CO2 generating dough system that allowed frozen pizza to approximate delivery pizza texture. Did you know that Red Baron Pizza is named after Manfred von Richthofen, the World War I German fighter pilot? The brand was launched in 1976 and used the aviation theme to suggest speed and quality. Neither attribute relates to pizza. Did you know that Totino's Party Pizza, the cheapest frozen pizza category, contains no real cheese? It uses a mozzarella-style topping made from modified food starch, vegetable oil, and cheese powder. Legally, it cannot be called cheese. The alternative? Homemade pizza on a weekend. Dough, flour, water, yeast, salt, olive oil. 30 minutes prep, 1 hour rise. Sauce, canned whole tomatoes, garlic, olive oil, salt. Cheese, real mozzarella. Total ingredients, 12. Total additives, 0. Store-bought fresh pizza dough at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, 1 ingredient is flour, water, yeast, salt, oil. Ready to use, top it yourself. Total time from fridge to oven, 15 minutes. Cleaner than any frozen brand. Cauliflower crust frozen pizzas? Lower carbs, but examine the ingredient list carefully. Many cauliflower crust varieties contain more additives than regular crust to compensate for the lack of gluten structure. The health halo requires scrutiny. Thin and crispy frozen pizza generally has less crust surface area and therefore fewer leavening agents. If you're going to eat frozen pizza, thin crust with simple toppings is a marginally better formulation choice. The sodium problem doesn't disappear with any frozen pizza. The preservation requirements for frozen products require sodium levels that make home cooking or fresh restaurant pizza structurally lower in sodium almost by default. Share this with someone who eats frozen pizza weekly, not to eliminate the convenience, but because knowing the sodium load, the cellulose in the cheese, and the aluminum leavening changes how you approach portion size. Eat 1/3 of the pizza. Save 2/3. The serving size is not arbitrary. Eating the labeled serving genuinely changes the sodium and calorie math. That knowledge is the most actionable thing from this video. Enable notifications. Next, ranch dressing, the most consumed salad dressing in America. What's actually in the bottle? The buttermilk that isn't buttermilk, the herbs that aren't fresh herbs, and the reason it makes everything taste good. Enriched flour, 5 leavening agents including aluminum phosphate, palm oil, natamycin on the cheese, cellulose, wood pulp in the shredded cheese, 4,440 milligrams sodium for the whole pizza? That's DiGiorno. Now you know it completely. It's not delivery. That's accurate. It's also not simple food. The ingredient list is evidence of exactly how much chemistry is required to approximate what flour, water, yeast, tomatoes, and real cheese do naturally. Now you see both. DiGiorno, 1995. 30 years, rising crust CO2 chemistry, 5 leavening agents, natamycin on cheese, cellulose in shredded cheese, 4,440 milligrams sodium, and a slogan that compared it to restaurant pizza. Now you've compared the ingredient list yourself. The label was on the back of the box the whole time. The slogan was on the front. The front is louder. Now you know both sides. What you do with that is your choice. See you at ranch dressing. The 5 leavening agents in DiGiorno crust each activated different temperatures during baking. Monocalcium phosphate activates at room temperature during mixing. Sodium bicarbonate activates at oven heat. The others fill gaps between. Industrial precision. Calcium sulfate in DiGiorno crust is the same compound as plaster of Paris. It's food grade and safe at these doses, but it is literally a component of construction material used as a food additive. That sentence is accurate. Dicalcium phosphate is a calcium supplement also used in industrial baking. It improves dough structure and adds a small amount of calcium. The calcium fortification is real but minor at pizza serving quantities. The freeze-thaw stability requirements of frozen pizza explain most of the ingredient list. Without chemical stabilizers, the dough would become soggy and unpleasant after months in a freezer. The additives serve the supply chain, not the consumer's nutrition. Real mozzarella contains milk, bacterial cultures, salt, and enzymes. That's 4 ingredients. The cheese blend on many frozen pizzas contains 8 to 12 ingredients, including cellulose, natamycin, and sometimes modified food starch. Compare the lists. The garlic and herb seasonings on DiGiorno are dried and processed. Fresh garlic contains allicin, a potent antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory compound. Dried garlic powder contains a fraction of the allicin. Flavor remains. Bioactivity diminishes. Red Baron was named after a World War I pilot and sells pizza. The brand association is entirely disconnected from the product. This is one of the purest examples of brand image having zero relationship to ingredient quality. Totino's Party Pizza at $2 per pizza contains no real cheese. The topping is a cheese-flavored food product. At $2 a pizza, the ingredient quality matches the price. The labeling is technically legal. The consumer assumption that it contains cheese is not corrected. The frozen pizza category grew 20% during COVID-19 lockdowns. Convenience food demand spikes during stress and uncertainty. The industry added production capacity that remains. The category is now larger than it was before the pandemic. Frozen pizza delivery services now exist. You order a frozen pizza that is delivered to your door. The convenience of delivery plus the product of frozen combined. This is the most convenient food option in human history. The ingredient list is commensurate.
Wood-fired pizza restaurants use 800-degree ovens. The Maillard reaction and charring at that temperature create compounds found nowhere else. Frozen pizza at 400 degrees for 22 minutes cannot replicate this chemistry. The gap between is flavor and complexity.
The honest use case for frozen pizza? It's a reasonable option for busy weeknight meals when the alternative is fast food or skipping dinner. Knowing what's in it and managing portion size makes it a more informed choice within that context. Homemade pizza dough batch prep? Make a double or triple batch on Sunday. Freeze the extra dough balls. Thaw in the refrigerator the morning before use. 30 minutes from frozen dough ball to pizza. Cleaner than DiGiorno with minimal extra effort. The per-serving sodium of DiGiorno at 1/3 pizza is 1,480 milligrams. If you eat 1/3, you've used 64% of your daily sodium on one meal. That leaves 36% for breakfast and lunch combined. Knowing that changes how you plan the rest of the day. Real Italian pizza tradition, Pizza Margherita has 3 toppings: tomato, mozzarella, basil. The simplicity is the point. The frozen pizza category added complexity, not to improve the product, but to extend shelf life, reduce cost, and improve industrial consistency. Share with everyone who has DiGiorno in their freezer right now. The information about sodium per whole pizza and the aluminum leavening and the cellulose in the cheese is the most actionable content from this video. 1/3 of the pizza is the serving. Eat 1/3. Stop. The sodium math makes this the single most important behavior change this video can suggest. 1/3. Not half, not the whole thing, 1/3. Enable notifications. Ranch dressing is next. The #1 selling salad dressing in America, more popular than all other dressings combined. And the ingredient list will change how you think about the word natural on any food label. Enriched flour, 5 chemical leavening agents, palm oil, natamycin antibiotic on cheese, cellulose from wood pulp in shredded cheese, BHT from packaging, 4,440 milligrams sodium whole pizza. DiGiorno, every ingredient was on the box the whole time. Frozen pizza serves a real purpose in real people's lives. The goal was never to eliminate it. The goal was to tell you what's in it so you can manage the sodium, understand the cheese, and make portion decisions with full information. Industrial food is not evil. It feeds billions of people affordably and conveniently. The gap between the marketing and the reality is where this channel lives. Not to condemn, to inform. DiGiorno is the clearest example of that gap. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno! And now you know exactly what that means. Flour chemistry, freeze-thaw engineering, natamycin, cellulose, aluminum, and a 30-year slogan that was always louder than the ingredient list on the back. The box is right there in your freezer. Flip it over, read the back. Count the leavening agents, find the natamycin, find the cellulose. It was always public. We just read it together. That's the entire service this channel provides. See you at ranch dressing, the most American condiment in history, made with buttermilk that isn't buttermilk and herbs that aren't fresh, and a bottle that has been on more dinner tables than any other dressing in the world. Enable notifications. We keep reading, the labels keep waiting, the information stays free. See you there. DiGiorno, 5 leavening agents, natamycin on cheese, cellulose in shredded cheese, 4,440 milligrams sodium, CO2 rising crust chemistry, 30 years of a slogan, 1 ingredient list on the back. Now you've read both sides. Plaster of Paris and pizza dough share a compound. Food-grade calcium sulfate is safe, but the sentence, "your frozen pizza crust contains a food-grade construction material," is accurate and worth knowing. Allicin in fresh garlic versus dried garlic powder, the anti-inflammatory compound diminishes significantly in processing. The flavor stays, the functional benefit mostly leaves. Another gap between fresh and industrial. The COVID-19 frozen food surge, 20% category growth, added capacity, larger industry. The convenience food infrastructure grew during a crisis and didn't shrink after. The category is permanently larger now. The honest context, frozen pizza on a busy Tuesday when the alternative is no dinner is a reasonable decision. Knowing what's in it is what separates an informed occasional choice from an uninformed daily habit.